I never thought this would be my story to tell, but here we are. It's been a journey, and I'm finally ready to talk about it. My sister and my husband. For 5 years. I know, it sounds like something out of a daytime drama, but this was my real life. Finding out was like a bomb going off in the middle of my perfectly curated world. The betrayal didn't just come from one person. It came from two of the people I trusted most. The initial shock was paralyzing. I remember sitting on my kitchen floor, unable to move, unable to breathe. It felt like the ground had just crumbled beneath me. For days, I was just a ghost in my own home. Anger, sadness, confusion, it was a hurricane of emotions, and I was right in the eye of the storm. How could they do this? My sister, my childhood confidant, the person who was supposed to have my back, no matter what. And my husband, the man I promised to spend my life with. The lies, the secrets, the stolen moments sit all replayed in my mind on a torturous loop. My first instinct was to burn everything to the ground. I wanted to scream, to expose them, to make them feel a fraction of the pain I was drowning in. And trust me, there were moments I came very close. I drafted 100 angry text messages, rehearsed 1,000 scathing speeches. But then, in the middle of all that chaos, a tiny, quiet voice inside me asked, "And then what?" What would all that rage actually accomplish? It would give them the satisfaction of seeing me broken, and it would keep me chained to the very pain I was so desperate to escape. So, I made a choice. It wasn't an easy one, but it was the most powerful one I could make. I chose myself. I decided that my healing was more important than my revenge. My peace was more valuable than their punishment. This wasn't about forgiving them, not at first. It was about freeing myself, The first step was creating distance, physical and emotional. I needed space to think, to feel, to just be, without their presence casting a shadow over everything. I packed a bag and stayed with a friend for a while. It was the best thing I could have done. Being away from the environment where the betrayal happened allowed me to start untangling the mess in my head. 2. During this time, I let myself feel everything. I cried until I had no tears left. I journaled obsessively, pouring all the anger and hurt onto the pages until my hand ached. I went on long walks, sometimes just screaming into the open air. It was messy, and it was raw, but it was necessary. Suppressing these feelings would only make them fester. I had to let them out, to let them go. One of the most crucial steps I took was seeking professional help. I found a therapist who specialized in betrayal trauma. Sitting in her office, I finally felt safe enough to be completely vulnerable. She didn't just listen, she gave me tools. Tools to process the trauma, to manage the intrusive thoughts, and to start rebuilding my sense of self-worth, which had been absolutely shattered. Therapy taught me that their actions were a reflection of their own brokenness, not a measure of my value. That was a game changer. If you are ever going through something like this, I cannot recommend therapy enough. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of incredible strength. As I started to heal, I began to focus on rediscovering who I was outside of my roles as a wife and a sister. For so long, my identity had been intertwined with theirs. I started small. I revisited old hobbies I'd let slide, like painting and hiking. I reconnected with friends I hadn't seen in ages, people who saw me for me, not as part of a couple or a family unit. Each small act of self-care, each moment spent investing in my own happiness, was like laying a new brick in the foundation of my new life. The legal process, of course, was unavoidable. The divorce? I hired a lawyer who was not only competent, but also compassionate. I made a conscious decision to handle it with as much grace and dignity as I could muster. I wasn't going to get dragged into a messy, public battle. I focused on a clean break. We sold the house, divided our assets, and went our separate ways. There were difficult days, of course, but keeping my eye on the prize, my freedom and my future, helped me get through it. 2. And what about my sister? That relationship is, and will likely always be, complicated. We have had a few stilted conversations, mediated by other family members. For now, the relationship is severed. I've had to accept that the sister I knew is gone, and the bond we shared is broken beyond repair. Mourning that loss has been a separate grieving process in itself, almost as painful as the divorce. But I have to protect my peace, and right now, that means keeping a firm boundary. So, where am I now? I'm happy. Genuinely, deeply happy. 2. It's a different kind of happiness than before. It's not dependent on anyone else. It's a happiness I built myself, from the ground up, on a foundation of resilience and self-love. I've traveled, I've started a small business from my passion for painting, and I've built a community of supportive, incredible friends who are my chosen family. Looking back, the betrayal was the worst thing that ever happened to me, but it also became the catalyst for the best thing that ever happened to me, finding myself. It forced me to confront my own strength, to define my own worth, and to build a life that is authentically and unapologetically mine. If you're going through something similar, please know this. You will get through it. It feels impossible right now, I know. But you are so much stronger than you think. Prioritize your healing, seek support, and be patient with yourself. Your best chapter is still unwritten. This isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new one, and you are the sole author. 2. Thank you so much for listening to my story. It means the world to me to be able to share it. If this resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more stories about resilience and rebuilding. You are not alone.